Hi, it's Sonia and welcome back to my art channel. Today I'm going to do a sketchbook tour of this, hopefully finished, altered sketchbook. It's a mixed media one. It was intended, the subject is, I guess, loose art, exploratory art for me. I've talked about it before in terms of sort of altered sketchbook projects, but essentially, just briefly, it was a $2 one that I got from, actually it's a little bit damaged, I need to be a bit gentle with this one, a $2 one I got from a library sale. I've done altered sketchbooks before, so I've kind of learnt along the way what I like in changing up a book. So, okay, so I'm going to go through this. I haven't actually prepared or looked through it, so it's kind of going to be a bit of my response to turning these pages. When I first started this, I think it's always hard. The first page is always a bit, I don't know, I think you just have to have very low expectations. I just went into it and I found a book left on a sidewalk in Switzerland, and I sort of cut out the front. I sometimes get annoyed by what are they called? Those book jackets. And so you can see that I was like, I'm going to draw super quick, like a 2-minute sketch, and make it super loose. But my idea, and here, next page already, I can see that whatever was under here, I didn't like. So I've covered it up with a work on paper. That was kind of like a really quick self-portrait. This one, I use these sketchbooks as well, to be fair, because especially if I want to cover stuff up or I'm covering up, you'll see, text, I do works on paper, and sometimes I like those works, but I want to file them, or this was from a very large piece of drawing paper. I only liked a segment of it, and it was a quick sketch of one of my kids. And yeah, I wanted to keep this for reference for ideas when I'm doing more sort of loose figurative work. Some of the pages in an altered sketchbook, I have to cut the pages out, and often I'll cut out the illustrations from books that I like to keep either for collage or as reference material. But I kind of liked that illustration, so I thought I wanted to keep it, and I paired it up with, I did some loose acrylic florals, and by accident I rotor trimmed the sheet in half. But I thought I kind of like, yeah, this is a good reminder to not always overcomplicate florals, just use one brush and play around. Here, I always think the beginning of a sketchbook's a bit funny. This was me sort of just playing around, drawing quickly from reference photos, selfies. I've used, what's this, tracing paper or gift wrap. Often I keep, when you get wrapping paper, I'll keep it because it's actually quite good to cover over mistakes and to experiment with. Okay. This was from a David Park Looking at Masters. I like to make my own sort of copies. So this was from the David Park book I have, and I used very, very soft oil pastels. And I'm going to be honest, I've got 2 sets of them, and I've actually given away a set because what I've learned is in some ways I love the softness, but they're also a little bit irritating. So I've covered this one quite successfully, just checking it's successful, yep, with, I believe, clear gesso or matte medium, because otherwise I just didn't, I think sometimes I said the smell, I can't remember which brand, but it was a slight smell, too tacky for me. So as I said, I've got 1 set now of soft oil pastels, and that's all I need. Here, I kind of like this one, is to show that under here I put some purple acrylic. Didn't like the drawing I did on that. Went over again with, what is this? I don't know what, I think it might be acrylic wash, I'm not sure. And then I've drawn over the top from Life. This was a little pot of daffodils using, I assume, Caran d'Ache 2 crayons. And I like that little sketch. So some people don't want to alter sketchbooks, their own work. Personally, I'm really happy to. I don't think I'll come back. We'll see. I bet you there's going to be some pages I'm going to be like marking them because I'm going to come back and alter them. Here I should write more notes. I mean, I titled my Substack Notes from a Sketchbook because I really want to get in the habit of, I'm terrible at sometimes writing. I don't know, like I want to write my working out. So here, this is helpful because I used up gouache, drew from an old sketch on the wall, added details from a photo on laptop. I left the eyes blank, wanted that look like from old busts. I've been drawing a lot from old busts. So yeah, I mean, this is good. These are some good ideas. So yeah, this is a note to myself going through the sketchbook. I don't know why I don't write more actually. Here, I just like this simple. This is one that I was thinking, should I recycle it? And I was like, no, let's stick it in here. And this is obviously from a master, and because I haven't written, I haven't got a clue where from. This spread I rather like. It's because, yeah, this is from an old sketchbook that I cut up. I think there's a video on it. I recycled it, and there was only a few things I wanted to keep, and this little portrait, when I was really into doing portraits, I kept that, and I've sort of blended it into this sort of background. Here, I sort of did is this squash sketch. I kind of like the contrast with this fluorescent yellow, and that's my son fiddling around with a smart jacket. And yeah, I like this spread. There's something about it. I wasn't too sure about this one. This one I'm kind of like, shall I come back to? But at the same time, I think it's a reminder to me to alter. I use myself as a reference a lot now because I freely give myself permission to draw myself however I want. And yeah, like just a reminder, alter the position of heads, like do heads from different angles. This one I liked because I don't know how I did it, because I assume it looks very inky. A simple pencil sketch that I'm not sure, a lot of these self-portraits, I'm not sure they look like me, but I feel like sometimes I capture something in the mark making. Like this is the sort of drawing that I really like myself. Quick, it's minimal, but I've highlighted, you can draw attention to certain areas. My favourite utensil often is a brush pen. I like how a brush pen can go over this sort of page as well, so you can leave the text, but I still feel like you can see the drawing. And I was just playing about with ink pens. The joy of this particular altered sketchbook is it's been going on for quite a long time. I haven't dated it, but I have tried so many different things in it, and yeah, it just makes me feel quite excited looking through it. Like there's ideas. I kind of like this ripped texture, and I think this was Inktense. I need to do practice a bit more when I have some time with Inktense, because I sort of sometimes put them away and I struggle a little with them. And this was from a master as well. I kind of like those colours. This one I'm not so sure about. I guess it was experimenting with this florals and this gold gouache. Here, this was using when I cut out pages from books, because I want to make more room. The thinking behind that is to make more room for collage and sticking things into your book. So this is one I keep the pages, because the pages then, again, they're pieces of paper that I feel low pressure, so I sketched this on top. I think maybe solitude was on my mind, and I've paired it with this little, I think there was a word here, and I cut up this painting, and that's the only bit I wanted to keep. I kind of like it. Some old sketches. I'm trying to remember to use do some quick photos of myself. Do a photo shoot and I've got my head down. It's not necessarily about me, my face. It's about using myself as, I guess that was an expression of tiredness at the kitchen table. Here's some really quick, what was this? Drew from ink sketch. Oh yeah, this was a sketch from a sketch, which is, yeah, note to self, Sonia, write notes. I don't like talking about myself in the third person. I don't know why I just did that. Anyway, yeah, sketching from sketches is always something if you're lacking inspiration to do. This spread I kind of like because I had these really cheap bits of paper. This was from a ream for the kids. It's super fine, like printer paper, but it was a big size. And then I just started one day, I think I was just drawing from screen, television, from just random, I've got no idea where these little sketches have come from, but I just liked some of it and I just wanted to cut it out and stick it in. Like, oh, this might be from my own photos when I was out and about on an urban sketch, but it all sort of makes no sense, but do our sketchbook pages have to make sense? This is from a Baselitz. Am I mispronouncing his name? Probably. A George Baselitz book. Is it George Baselitz? Women of Dresden. I was like, let's have a go at, yeah, like kind of the colours, adding in sort of this blue, oil pastel, and this is collage, I can tell. So I cut out, this was meant from one of my sort of floral still lifes on paper. Didn't like the flowers, didn't like the background, but I've kept just collaging in. And then this is oil pastel, but I think I've covered it with something. I guess a little bit trying that sort of wet into wet Marlene. I think I was thinking about Marlene Dumas and sort of really wet ink drawings. That was, but I sometimes like to leave an eye out. I don't know why. And this one is from someone's self-portrait. Here I've had to tape up the page because it's ripped. Not so sure about that. I don't love it. There's the self-portrait from the side. This one was Whistler after Jade Necklace. So some copies here. And then I just liked this segment of a drawing. Here I deliberately tried to, this was a bit of a weird page. I wasn't sure if I should cover it up, but then I was like, actually, this is that whole, you know, like the Egyptian or the side profiles where there is no, so flat, rather sort of, I guess, I don't know how to say it, graphic. Oh, Draw What Scares You from Justin Mortimer. That was when I was listening to a podcast with the artist Justin Mortimer. That was advice he was given. That's advice that personally I don't really want to draw. My scary nightmares, all things that scare me. But I guess this has a sinister feel, and I've kept it to remind myself to sort of go there sometimes. Here, this is playing about with, I've got these little bits of leftover from the kids who didn't seem to want it. These funny bits of, I think it was like to make stained glass windows, but I'm using it whenever I want to see what happens, like just experiment with it. It's got quite a nice smooth feel. Here I stuck this one over the top of another drawing that I didn't like. So yeah, this is heavy. I did have to cut a few pages out of this book because it is heavy on me sticking things in. Vases. I like this spread. I really like the gold here. I think it works. It's super simple, kind of like really raw, basic. Sometimes I have more detailed pencil sketches. This was like a sketch on a sketch. So it has a weird, strange quality. It was a self-portrait. I think I was using not Prismacolor pencils, but I've actually taken them inside to the kitchen table for the kids because they are, I can't remember what they are. They're one of the sort of ones that was recommended as an alternative, and they were much like half the price of Prismacolors. Here we got 10-minute bird sketches. This is on, if you want to see the process, is this one on? I think it's on the Joy of Drawing website. Because I just wanted to practice. These are good places if you just want to practice. And sometimes the sketches you do are like, could be sort of in, you don't want to have them in your best sketchbooks. So, but, oh, I like this one. This was one of my kids from a photo. I drew him. He was like sort of collapsed on the table. And it doesn't look like him. So it looks like completely someone else. But I know what it is. This is more, again, sort of I feel like I've transformed this. This was meant to be a study from a master, didn't like it, and it's sort of got slightly sinister. I just played about with a bit of collage. This book is for playing about, really, and as I say, it's also a way for filing some paperworks that I've cut down because they didn't work as larger pieces. But I like, there's something in them that I can come to. For again, like I like this checkered red cloth on this pink background. Maybe that pattern, I always come back sometimes pattern. But the bits that I'm not so keen on, like I don't really love those flowers, doesn't really work. Here, I think I tried to use, I do not love this graphite. I'm tempted to give it away, but I'm hanging. I got some graphite powder once, and oh my gosh, it's smudging off my hands. And then I went over it from Master. I think that is probably using up acrylic wash. A sketch, I was myself holding up a sketchbook. I've had that on my studio wall for a bit. This was me, so there's a pencil drawing. This was me trying out oil pastels in a really layer upon layer, playing with the colours, I guess influenced by other artists who are quite expressive in their portraiture. And yes, I do like the soft oil pastels for that, but they are really, really, really mucky, and finding a way of covering them. So maybe I will go back to them. As I said, I've kept one set. Just playing about. This is more like abstract landscapes. It's almost like a lightning coming into the sea that I was just mucking around with leftover paint. Oh, I did put lightning. Here, so these, I don't know if it's, hopefully it will show because they're quite sort of a bit more delicate drawings, but on this acrylic, I used a lot of a very old, cheap acrylic I was using up from a little jar on these pages, and it just meant a nice background, bit transparent for pencil drawings. So these are pencil drawings, but I really like something in the lines as a speed. This one looks a bit more slower and considered. Here, this is using a running out. This pen, I remember, it was running out. It was just it was like a brush pen, but felt tip brush pen, and I just wanted to use it up. And then I was experimenting with like ink tints on top and sort of a bit of colour. And from different books, I was using references. David Park book, because I remember doing these. I think this was in preparation just to show some. I was sort of planning for a portrait workshop. The old sketchbook, I just cut out some of the kids' ones and I stuck them in because I kind of liked, I feel like I captured one of the kids bending over, fiddling people when we went to the beach one day. This is a 10-minute sketch on the joy of drawing. And weirdly, okay, sorry, this one here is of my middle son, but I've really minimised. I feel like I have got something there and I really like that sketch. Stick it, right, again, heavy oil pastel that I didn't know what to do with a sheet of paper, but it was a reminder to me, play about with colour, like leaves, expressionism. Leaves, why do they have to be green sometimes in your paintings when you want a different feel? And yeah, I can get bored doing the same thing. I have to really, for me, I just like to change up what I'm drawing from, how I'm using, what materials. This keeps it all fresh and lively for me. And I really, this is why I love going over things, because under here, I was really struggling with, this is like loads of layers of tissue paper glued on. And underneath there was a sketch I didn't like. I think it was a self-portrait in green. Or no, it was a master copy. But I like this sort of blue, and I used a brush. I painted with a brush and gouache. And yeah, there's some textures, just something about it. Here I experimented with some gift wrap and how did it take acrylic gouache. And then the drawing I did on top didn't work out here, so I covered it again with, what is this? I don't know, acrylic gouache or some sort of paint. And then I've gone on top some irises, but made them quite, I used a fluorescent acrylic ink. This was from a second-hand folk art book, and I wanted to test out. See, it's really handy having my own notes. Gouache on paper. So then I switched to Caran d'Ache number 2 crayons. And this page I don't love. I could probably, if I ever was going to alter, that page would be altered. This, I like this gel pen on black. So it's from quick drawings from the folk art book, but using a jelly roll pen meant it's very linear. And there's what is it? I do not know. Person off YouTube. I think I just drew off the screen quickly with, I guess they look like Neo 2 crayons. Oh, this is thinking of exercises for the portrait workshop, and I called this economy of line and minimalism. Here I was mucking about on this spread. So utilising one of the illustrations from the book and then covering, I kind of like that though. There's an atmosphere to it. And then here, I think this might be from first photo of myself from the back, all the kids, and then I just added a bird in. Some of this is repetitive. Florals. There are times when I just really like to draw some flowers. I think there's something in the fragility of flowers. They always sort of cheer me up. There's just rather the forms. I just like drawing the forms. And here I use the Smithsonian Institute, an image, John Phrase. I wouldn't have known that because it's such a minimal drawing. Okay, sometimes if you do have some certain acrylic paints, the pages do stick together. These are sort of more... Oh, this one was quite fun. So I drew this again. In my Moleskine gouache landscape sketchbook, there's a more sort of realistic finished sketch. And here I was like, let's play about. And I used, jelly gouache and some more expressive mark making technique. Here, the boys had like these onesies and they were trying them on. So I tried to do really, really quick sketches. And this one, I feel, it's like a furry, I think it's meant to be, I can't remember what the onesie's meant to be, some sort of furry dog thing, but it's a little bit spooky about it. Using myself as reference and trying to draw a bit more carefully with a brush pen. And that was quite a good exercise. Sticking stuff in. Oh, so the other one was drawing from memory. Here, very playing about with landscapes, remembered landscapes, and just not overdoing them. This page, particularly, I like this because there was something really a little bit under here with I did a floral drawing. This is the remnants of that floral drawing. And this sketch was here. But as a spread, I came back to it and I kept looking at it and it just felt a little bit underwhelming? I don't know. And I wanted to, so then I thought, let's just put a really sort of basic vase shape, like one of those sort of Greek vases, but it's got my original drawing. And so I just got rid of some of it with this gouache, this rather nice metallic gouache. It's hard to see it, but I kind of like the effect. Personally, when I'm flipping through the pages, I get the metallic here, and then I added a bit more colour here, and that just, I think, draws the eye, the composition. I mean, it's still not the most exciting. I've got a hair, I have hairs everywhere. But, I feel like it's more finished now. I like the spread. This one I stuck over. It's a collaged bit where I was just really playing about with utilising another cutout page from an altered book project. I like these florals. These were quite fun. I wanted to this is a nice, can you see that sheet? It's a metallic jelly gouache. So yeah, often I draw the same vase of flowers. Especially if I've got a vase of flowers, I draw it again and again and again. But I might change up the colours, or I make up my own vase design. I accidentally stuck this in upside down, and I'd had carried out two, because they're so quick. It was continuous line, and it was another idea for the workshop. And I thought, let's stick this one the right way up, and this makes it quite a bit more interesting, the page. This is from a landscape, so I guess it's almost a bit more abstracted. Getting into the whole blotting, but there is also a little bit, if you can see, I've cut out an illustration there. And I was thinking, would I do more drawings on these pages? But sometimes I kind of like the blotting. Just the ink. Some more, what's it called? Oil pastel sketches. So this was, I don't know if you remember, this is the sketch from a sketch. I did this ink drawing from a photo of, I think, the youngest, and I like it. So I just cut it out and stuck it in here. Yeah, this was really getting loose with drawing from a photo. I mean, I know it's my youngest, but it's almost could be something I quite like figurative art where it's a human, it's a person, but you can put your own identity. It's not so, it's kind of like generic. It's not so detailed. A bit like, and these are, maybe I was inspired by the sketches in this book, because they're kind of sort of like rustic and very, more collage, but I liked these two pieces. I was just playing about with my own vases, but sort of having a little bit of that Greek feel. But I used a folk art image. And then this, I like this floral study, so I thought I'm sticking it in, because I probably might come back and copy from it. More actual drawing from my own houseplants. Sometimes you have these odd snippets of paper, like I've got another one somewhere. I don't know where I put it, that I need to stick in. Like I just do these odd little, I don't know, these odd little sketches, and I'm like, where should I put them? Here I've stuck this bit of paper because this is acrylic and it sticks. This was a sketch from this side, but a reminder to myself, sketches don't have to be always complicated. Now I go to more of a complicated page. These two I felt, this is watercolour. This is me properly trying to just do watercolour, so I wanted them matched here. This feels like I could do more to it, but... And then a landscape. I'm not sure about this one really. Maybe I should have just recycled it. This one I kind of liked because it is that whole kitsch. For me, slightly... I don't know what to say really. Don't know why, but I kind of like it. Abstracted landscapes, playing around more. Really playing around with bits of different colours. This I wanted to keep because there's lots of different experiments and mark making, a bit of layering. I learned that if I want to tone something down, keeping some of that old gift wrap and sticking it on top just helps mute too bright colours sometimes. And you can always go on top as well. Some more self-portraits. Oh, this spread is one of my favourites because, yeah, this is from an image I took of myself, but it doesn't look like me anymore. But I think I've captured like my hand coming forward. I was drawing on the floor, something about it. And there's the two boys, well, one of my sons with his friends, they're in the kitchen. But yeah, again, they were making boba, but it's very faint, but I know what that scene is. Wow. What's this? Oh, this is me playing about with some acrylic markers, drawing birds. Here, I remember I did this and I talked about it and I can't remember how I did it. I think I was using, yeah, I kind of like that sort of ghostly effect though. I played around with contrasting sort of really bright gouache colours, green. This green's quite garish, and then sort of this more delicate drawing from a master, I guess. But I didn't like the one on this side, so I've covered it up. More sort of landscapes playing about. Yeah, so you can see some of this is here. So this was from Matisse, and I sort of seated obelisk, and then I sort of was looking at that sort of loose drawing. And then what I did was I found a family photo, and I guess I've tried to learn to incorporate that into my own, what was it, acrylic brush pens? Here I like, this is a bit more, I guess, traditional, practicing my traditional drawing techniques and trying to keep it a bit more accurate. And I love how this side I really love because you've got the original, the book's illustration coming through. But I think I've managed, yeah, I like that, sort of like layers, and I like the drawing. My house plant, but very loose. This spread I've shown before, I like it because I like the contrast in the colours, the gouache on this red. There's something maybe illustrative about it. It's just a fun spread for me, and it's personally relevant. Florals, playing around with florals. More self-portrait. I don't know what I was... Maybe I haven't finished this side, but I kind of like the hand coming out. One of the kids lying down. This is very faint. This was... I reused an old reference photo of myself, and I've used... what does it say? I think I used transparent acrylic, a golden acrylic, and then Prismacolor pencil on top. Here, a rather bright gouache, experimenting with that. These were two sort of abstract works on paper that, again, this was the terribly soft oil pastel that I've had to cover. And I liked this. This was just an experiment on some old paper with leftover paints. And Wanted to keep that. Discarded floral exercises. Oh, incorporating some of my kids' like discarded artworks, but then adding a little bit of my own mark making to them and keeping them. I love this one. I don't know, I really like that side. I just thought I'd keep the illustration. Drawing this, one of the kids again, but I've cut out. Here I went really, I thought, let's push this. I pushed this spread sort of maximalist with the acrylic markers, the Artex acrylic markers. Played about with a bit of abstract. Not a huge lot of abstract because I've got abstract journals, so this was probably, I intended this as more for loose drawing. I was trying to, I've done a portrait of my kids before, and then I thought I'd come back and minimise, like do it a bit more minimally. I really much enjoyed this side because it's an old master, but I feel I've got it really sort of illustrative, and it's got all these like, I like the grey on the grey. That worked out quite well for me. Here, oh, this was Inktense and Prismacolor pencils. And I think this was a Pentel sign pen. So yes, it is jolly helpful to put how I've done some pages. Sometimes it's very apparent. I can look at something and I know exactly what I've used and how I've done it. So drawing from that drawing, but I wanted to keep it like very linear, and yeah, I kind of like that blue on that black. These floral studies I liked. I think this was on I think I used up like, you know, when you have eyeshadows, and I was like, this is so old, I don't think it should be used as an eyeshadow. So I was like, let's combine it with matte medium and see, you know, it's pigmented, can I make a background? More florals, more experimenting drawing from old busts. Having fun with landscapes, but changing up colours, making it a bit more just sort of going for an atmosphere, playing. Sketching the kids, but really loosely from photos. Boys fighting on the beach. Some very scratchy drawings, so I'm trying to hurry. Yeah, this one, I don't know what this, don't love this page. I think I just liked some elements. As I said, I keep, oh, this was kind of, I liked this spread because it's showing practicing drawing with a graphite pencil, but sort of layering, just drawing little snippets, and it grew and grew. I think I did it over days, and then I just added a little wash of colour. And this is a more detailed, this is a painting over a painting, but then I think I used just near colour 2 crayons. Very loose. I wanted to, this was up on a wall, it was the 3 kids sitting together. And I did a very loose, this is Inktense, I want to keep it. This is my most recent, one of my recent videos, and yeah, this was me finishing off this sketchbook, and I really have enjoyed getting back into gouache florals, but kind of like just playing about with colours. As I say, the one thing I have learned, I don't think I'll do again, is this particular sketchbook was very confusing for me because I just go in and out like randomly to different spreads. Next time I think, so you know, this was my last page spread, but because this was all completed earlier on, if that at all makes any sense. And then yeah, I kind of, yeah, I stuck in, I liked this weird, it's almost, it should be in this like an end page, but anyway. And that's a very loose landscape, but I like that quality. Okay, that is it. I'm going to end this now because it's quite a long video. I hope this has been some ideas in here for anybody who's into this sort of loose art, playing around in sketchbooks and altered books. Thank you for watching, as always, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Bye.